Oh, yeah. Metal Summoners, how we've missed you. Normally it's been a week. In this case, it's been like 3 days because the Metal Summit was all up in your face for M3. So M3's behind us. It's now M4, as in the Core 4. You know how much you missed us because we missed you too. For Bobby Dreyer, for Psycho Steve, Alamo, I'm Jay. We're going to bring in our guest in just a moment. We thank you guys so much for joining in with us again. Like I said, we came fresh off of M3 where we interviewed members of Pretty Boy Floyd, Hurricane, Little Caesar, Faster Pussycat, the Bullet Boys. Man, we were all over the place. We closed it out with Ari from Adler and a special impromptu shout out leading into our contest from the one and only Mark Weiss, which that is all over our Facebook. We will touch base again on it before the episode is over, and we will let you guys know exactly what's going down when it comes to that. But we are rested off of M3. It was an absolute blast. We missed everybody very, very much. Live music is back, and we know a guy who's really, really excited about live music being back. His back catalog is absolutely fantastic. We got michaelschenker. We've got, oh my God, we've got the current Black Swan. And in fact, our Metal Summoners know that we have had multiple members of Black Swan already. So let's bring in the man, Robin McAuley.
Hello, 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 hello.
How are you?
Metal Summit in the house.
Horns up. Fantastic, brother. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Absolutely. Well, let's start things off. How's everything going with you, man? You had an impromptu, unasked for musical vacation last year. So talk a little bit about what's going on fresh in Robin McAuley's world.
Well, I had a great time. Don't remember a thing. You know, we started, oh my God, when I think about it, you know, I was part of a Vegas show, Raiding the Rock Vault, and we had performed up till March 4th, which was my last one in 2020. We had performed some 1,500 shows. And I came home on the Wednesday. I was supposed to fly into Japan on March 6th with michaelschenkerfest. And of course, we had a sold-out show in Japan. We were going to transition into Europe. We had sold-out shows in Europe and the UK. And then I got the email to say, hey, you're not going anywhere. Everything's canceled. We'll reschedule. And that really was my last live show, which was March 4th in Vegas 2020. And, you know, we thought we'd be off for a couple of weeks and then everything would be sort of rolling like it did before. And fast forward, we know that none of that happened. And worst movie you've ever seen. You couldn't write the script. And then the record label, you know, we had Black Swan out on Valentine's Day in 2020. Too much hoopla. We were very excited about it. We had videos up on YouTube. And suddenly the brakes kind of came in and everything just messed up. And so the Frontiers called me and went, hey, maybe you should do a solo record. And I'm going, I don't need to do a solo record. I don't like that. I'm not a solo artist, you know? Yeah. And so I really didn't want to do it. And so with nothing else better to do, I started to put the whole thing together and we got Standing on the Edge, which I'm really glad we did. Sort of kept me sane. And now we're just about, a new door is open and we're about to come out of the tunnel. And already started to record the new Black Swan. And we're about 9 songs deep so far.
Nice.
So a hell of a year. Time for reflection, man. And you know, it wasn't all bad. I learned to cook. I can boil 2 eggs now instead of 1.
Nice.
And my wife, who Steve will attest to, you know, loves to play that word game. And she took on nursing school. That was actually up on the front line when the vaccines became available and was like, jabbing everybody as hard as she could.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So a good, not a complete loss, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man, for sure. So, the last time that I got to see you was on Michaelschenkerfest,
Right?
You know, and that was a very, very cool, like, put together, you know, show. It really, really just great backing band with multiple singers, you know, with Michael.
It was a marathon, man. That wasn't a show. It was a marathon. 2 hours. Where did you see us?
I saw you at Silver Spring, Maryland.
Oh, all right. All right.
I saw you in New York City and Philly.
Oh, cool. So you're at the Plaza?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yep. That's right.
I saw you at the Fillmore, so I was one of the photographers running up and down the floor.
Great places.
But
yeah, it was a good time, Schenkerfest.
Absolutely. So talk a little bit about how that was designed, because somebody like yourself, who's from doing bands and performing, used to, you know, being the front guy on stage for the whole set, where you're kind of, you know, pulling multiple little like intermissions with other singers. So talk a little bit about any kind of adjustments you had to make for a show that was designed that way, but also just your experiences working with all those talents.
Well, you know, from my time with Michael during McAuley-Schenker, you know, I had the job as the only singer of singing my songs, singing Graham's songs, singing Gary's songs. So, and we all knew each other. We weren't strangers to each other, not by a long shot. And so I get the call from Michael's people, and he said that would I be interested in doing a Michael Schenker Fest? He explained what Michael's idea was, and I went, that's the best idea I've heard so far. And we were scheduled. We headlined the Bang Your Head Festival in Germany, and we rolled in. We got into the rehearsal room, and it was just a blast, because everybody could sing their own set. I got a chance to come up and do backups with Gary and backups with Graham, and then I think we got about a year into it, and Michael decided to bring in Dougie White from the Temple of Rock period. So now we have 4 singers. And we started, I think we were almost 3 hours the first time we went out.
Oh, wow.
And as far as the singers are concerned, it's a breeze, because we get to leave and the band can't even go take a pee. so they're stuck up there. And, you know, over time we have to reduce it. And it's like playing the casinos, you know, they want people out on the floor playing the slot machines. Down to 2 hours, sometimes mostly about 2 hours 15. And I think there's 30 something songs in the set. And even at that, people were going, "Oh, you didn't do this and you didn't do that." So people wanted us to kind of play all night. And it was one of the best times I've ever had. Really, I can't say enough great stuff about it. It was a great idea from Michael. We would have done the last shows had it not been for this damn pandemic. And in the meantime, he recorded his 50th anniversary record, Immortal. And he has Ronnie Romero in there, and Michael Voss, who is producer, and Ralph Sheppers from Primal Fear. So, good record. And they're scheduled already to go out and play some shows.
Nice, man. That's super duper awesome, for sure. Psycho Steve, let's bring you in, man.
Yeah, it's been a bucket list for me, because I've been a fan of yours since Survivor. And, you know, yeah, I'm showing our age now, but I won't say what year. So the real question is, as far as
I'm old. I'm the oldest. You can say what you want. I'm the oldest in the room. You can say whatever you want.
I'm the second oldest.
We're all children.
Yeah,
children of the night or children
of the damned.
Yeah. Creature.
Yeah, there you go. So, question is, how did Black Swan come about? Like, did you guys know each other prior to facilitate it? Like, did the CEO of Frontier says, "Hey, I'm going to put a super group together. Robin, meet Reb, meet Robin," you know, and did you guys all know each other prior to putting it together?
It was easier than that. To completely backtrack, Jeff Pilson was best man at my wedding 28 years ago.
Wow.
Wow.
Right? And prior to that, Jeff also did the last michaelschenker MSG studio record with James Kotak playing drums. And Jeff and James were friends of mine. And when Michael and I decided that we probably wouldn't bring the rest of the guys in from Europe to record that record, I used to hang with Jeff and James, and I said, hey, I've got the killer rhythm section. I've got the drummer from Kingdom Come, and I've got Dawkins' bass player. What about that? And he goes, how do you know those guys? I said, it doesn't really matter. But I talked to them already, and they were up for it. They recorded that record, and Jeff went on to come out on the road with Michael and myself for the beginning period of MSG Unplugged, and spent months with us on the road. In fact, Jeff Pilson is responsible for my very, very first Starbucks. There's a little piece of, I didn't know that. Anyway, so Serafino had asked me to record a solo record maybe 2+ years ago, and I was busy with Schenkerfest. I was busy with the Rock Vault in Vegas, working 5 nights a week, taking time out to do Schenkerfest. So I really felt I honestly didn't have enough time to stop and write and whatever else was involved for a solo record, find musicians and just take that much time out. So we put that on hold, and then Serafino calls Jeff again, and I'm in Vegas, and Jeff calls me and he goes, Serafino wants me to put a supergroup together. And I laughed and I went, nobody does supergroups anymore. And I said, it's a horrible title anyway. And I wouldn't want to be part of a supergroup because everybody kind of just laughs their asses off of the idea of a supergroup. Lasts for 5 minutes and see ya. And he goes, nah, this is going to be different. And I went, so it'll be like a super group. And I've known Jeff, so we can just bounce it around the place. And he goes, so anyway, you're the first singer I called. You'll be the last. I only want to do it if you're doing it. And he said, because I know Reb from the Dawkins time, tooth and nail, he goes, Reb is totally up for it. I was only talking to him the other day. We're out on the road with Whitesnake and Foreigner. And he goes, oh, dude, this would be killer. And I had met Reb during my Survivor years when he did a stint with Night Ranger for a little bit. And so my prerequisite was simple. I said to Jeff, I'll do it if you play bass. Because he had said, no, I'll be producing and I'll probably get involved with the songwriting, but I don't want to play bass. And I said, well, there's the deal breaker right there. I said, you play bass, and then we'll take it to the next level. And he goes, no, it won't happen, but let me talk to Reb. And he goes, I'll call you. So about a week passed, and he goes, Reb's coming into LA, and we're going to knock some tunes out, and we'll send you the stuff as it comes down the pike. So I got 2 or 3 ideas sent in sort of very quick succession. And I'm listening to it and I'm going, fuck, what do I do with this, right? So first song I started to work on turned out to be Big Disaster. And it's kind of a funny story because Reb's back in LA. I come to Jeff's studio and we were chewing the fat for a bit. You know, what do they want? And well, they want a classic rock. And then we left it at that. And we said, we'll write what comes to us. We just can't sort of write by numbers. And so Reb says, so did you work on anything? And I went, well, I worked on this piece of music. And he goes, let's see what you got. So, you know, we had a mic in the control room and I started singing it down. And then I hit the chorus and I started singing Big Disaster. And he goes, dude, this is the first time we've written songs together. And the first song you pick is called Big Disaster. How do you think they're going to react to that? And I went, good point. And that's really all we ever discussed about the songwriting. He laughed his butt off and Big Disaster became the second single or something, and it sort of set the tone. We had a blast. Jeff Pilson is on 12 constantly in the studio. He is super animated. He's got great ears, great melody ideas. I'll be singing something. He goes, "Do this and see how that sounds." So we work very, very close knit together till we get the best out of what it is that we're doing for that piece of music, and that's where we're at right now. So that's really how it came together. It was like, and then we started listening to some of the earlier songs, and it's just had a bite to it. I always tell everybody it's the best thing I've ever done. It's just a great record. Loved how Jeff allowed my vocals to do what my vocals do, as opposed to the overproduction aspect of stuff. And there was no pressure of that sort of 80s thing. You got to write that kind of a song and that kind of a song and this because we have to go to MTV and we need VH1 and all of that other crap that used to come with it. We just were able to let loose, and what you got was Shake the World, first record. Yeah, it was great. Really, I can't.
Phenomenal album.
Thank you.
It's so good.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, we had a great time doing it, and a great time working together. And as I said, we're 9 songs into the second one, and it's a blast. Those guys are. That Beach Boy can play guitar.
Oh, yeah. He sure can, for sure.
Oh,
It's funny that you talk about Jeff that way, Robin, because Jeff was on 12 during his interview with us. So,
I mean, if you're in the room, if you're in the control room, I'll be out doing a vocal, and he go, "Come in and take a listen." So I'll be in beside him, and he'll be sitting there, and he's. And I know one of my sons who actually sang backups for us on Shake the World. He was standing in the studio when he was doing it, and he was beside himself. and he doesn't know Jeff like I know him. He comes out, he goes, "Is he always like that?" And I went, "Oh, dude, he's worse." Working in that environment is just tremendously motivating and uplifting and inspiring. He's just, it's so. I suppose what I'm saying is when the machinery works and all the little pieces start to move at the same time, it's very productive. It's very, very productive. Yeah.
He's worse. You saw him on an off day.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, if you know Jeff like I know him, it's just like, where did it go?
Oh, absolutely. No, we love Jeff. We love Jeff.
So,
Jeff absolutely fantastic. And you know who else is fantastic? I think we need to bring in the Empress. Bobby.
Yeah. So, wait, sip of the cocktail.
I know. Did you see that? That was coffee.
I'm going to go get mine. I'll be right back.
I got a little bit of Irish in here. It's a little bit of 1800 with a little bit of Cosmo on top. So It's an Irish queen.
There it is.
So, you played with Jeff. We love Jeff. Amazing bass player. So, Robin, you wrote one of my most fucking favorite tunes ever with another great bass player. Let's figure out that one. What about Rocky?
Rocky Newton.
Yeah. So, give me your love. When you did that on Perfect Timing, dude, Major Wood. Is you and Rocky on that, and then Schenker's guitar. It's that whole intro that is so. I could hear Reb playing it. There's so many people, and it's a timeless tune. If anybody gets a chance, that is such a badass album too.
Yeah, we kind
agree. That is definitely
kind of bitched about that because we weren't sort of over the moon about the final mix on that. It was a little toppy. Michael's guitars were a little buried sometimes. And so when we came to Save Yourself, we thought we have to fix this, so it's a lot more guitar oriented. I mean, for me, Michael's intro on Save Yourself is incredible, and he plays exactly that when we're live. If you've seen him live, that's exactly what. He does. And he's very particular about that sort of stuff, because we used to have this thing of, don't you hate it when you go see a band and there's a song that you like and that doesn't sound anything like the record, because then people have different opinions. Well, it's your song. When you go live, you should be able to do this and this. And I'm going, no, that's not what I liked about it. I like it this format. And so Michael used to have this thing where whatever he would record, it was paramount that he would duplicate it exactly note for note on the live stage. And if you've seen Schenker live when we do Save Yourself, it's right on the money, and it's one of my favorite intros for everything. And ironically, I had said to him when we wrote that song, I went, "We need something else. We need a whole piece at the top end of the song." And he goes, "Well, it has an intro," and I went, "No, just a standalone solo." And so he came up with that, and he goes, "Like this?" And I went, "Huh, just like that."
But
and
you and Rocky wrote, when you wrote Time too, there's just, is there a chemistry between you and bass players? Because it seems like you and Jeff have it, and you and Rocky,
I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just, some guitar players will play in a particular register.
Yeah.
That's their thing. And like George Lynch, for example, when I did Standing on the Edge, the solo record, people were going, "Oh my God, this sounds like George Lynch on guitar." Now, it just turns out that Andreas Ceveso, who did an amazing job on the whole record, is a big George Lynch fan. That said, he also has his own style. In fact, a funny note, getting back to Jeff Pilson, Jeff's talking to me and he goes, "Dude, you're not going to believe this," he said. So George called me, and George says, "Hey, did you produce that McAuley solo record?" And Jeff goes, "No, did not." And he goes, "Sounds like Dokken." He said, "Sounds like me playing guitar." And Jeff goes, "Coincidence." And then everybody started, posting their comments. "Sounds like Dokken, sounds like George Lynch." And George is getting a kick out of it because, he gets extra mileage out of the fact that my guy is playing sort of a la George Lynch style. But then he changes for the rest of the record. So, everybody's got something to say about somebody,
That's very cool. The other thing too, Robin, you had the opportunity to work with the late great Bob Kulick,
Yes,
Bruce's brother, on a lot of projects.
Yeah.
And you've done a lot of cover tunes from AC/DC to Aerosmith, and
Garth Brooks.
Yeah. But talk about a little bit. We're all big Kiss fans. We're friends of all genres of Kiss, the original to the Bruce era to everything. And Bob there. So how did that all come about too?
Yeah. Oh my God, it goes back a ways. That Bob was working with Billy Sherwood, who now was with Yes. And Bob and Billy had a studio here in the Valley here in LA. And they started working on different tribute records. And so they'd bring in as many people as they thought would be a variety for whatever it was they were doing. And I got the call. I think one of the first things I did with Bob might have been Breathe from Pink Floyd. And that kind of kicked off the relationship. There was Aerosmith songs, as I said, Garth Brooks songs, AC/DC songs, Kiss songs.
Yeah.
And so Bob would always call me, and there was a joke with Bob because I like to be prepped. He'd send me what he wanted me to do. I'd learn it. I'd come in, and I like to move, get things done. I don't like too much hanging around in the studio because there's a job to do. And Bob would always go, "Can't get it done any faster, huh?" and so we had a great relationship, even down to his last Closet songs. In Vegas, I worked with him on the last thing that he actually did.
Wow.
And Bob was a character, great guitar player. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Too
And your
many-
version of "I Stole Your Love" is just tip of the hat to you.
Thank you. It's very difficult when you're doing a cover because people go, it doesn't sound anything like the guy, and really it's not supposed to. I mean, it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. I think Lemmy sang "Fat Bottom Girls" on the Queen tribute that we did. So it doesn't sound anything like Freddie.
I don't want Lemmy to sound like Freddie.
No, but my point. But Bob did a tremendous job on that stuff, and I was thrilled to bits because Bob would always call me, and you became part of that sort of tribute clique that he had built, and playing with everybody. It was pretty awesome. And then of course when I moved into the Raiding the Rock Vault in Vegas, and now we have the pick of the crop again, and we're bringing in, I think one of the first few weeks we had Lou Gramm in, guested for a week. We had John Anderson from Yes, we had Mickey Thomas from Starship, and of course we end up with Hugh McDonald, Bon Jovi's bass player. There's another bass player, and then we had Jay Shellen, who's now back with Yes, and Michael T. Ross from Lena Ford's band, Paul Shortino, Mark Bowles, Andrew Freeman, Sean Coy that was out with Meatloaf as the female singer, Megan Ruger who sang on The Voice, tremendous, Phil Suzanne that was Ozzy's bass player, and oh dear, we also had of course Doug Aldridge, we had Tracy Stevens, we had Rowan Robertson, and Dave Amado from Oreo. So, man. And the way I see it, I'm a snotty-nosed kid that grew up in the south of Ireland, and I end up on stage in Vegas playing with the cream of what's happening right now. So
you drink your peaty scotch. I'm going to go sip on my Highland stuff here. Jay, back to you, brother.
Well, then, Bobby, we'll let you just sip away there.
You go sip that, man. Yeah. So it's been an honor for me. A great, and I don't take it lightly at all.
No, well, thank you. And again, it was the whole thing of bringing it up with Rocky. Look, you seem to have a great rapport with bass players. So
yeah, Rocky, of course, is
Rocky,
of course, is the bass player with Lionheart back in the UK.
Yeah,
and I think he just got a new gig, didn't he, with another band that just slips my mind. But yeah, he's always busy, and he continues to work with Steve Mann, whom I wrote Anytime with.
Yeah.
And is currently, of course, with Michael Schenker. Yeah, I guess when you find something that works collaboratively, is that a word, collaborative? It's good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm lucky. That's all. I'm
very cool.
No, absolutely. So super cool. So Metal Summoners, that's 3 of us down, but that means that it's time for the heart and the voice of the Metal Summoners. Angel Alamo, it's all you, my good dude.
Thank you. Just want to say hi to all of our fans watching. Candy, Matt, Melissa, Elsa, Kim, Brian, Tommy, thank you all for watching. So, Phoenix, cannot forget. Ken, thank you all for watching. Now, get to the questions. The first one is from Candy Burton. Hi, Robin. A 2-part question. Could you say hi to my mom, Susan? She is a big fan of yours.
Hi, Susan. Where are you? You should be on screen here with us. We miss you.
She's from Canada.
Yep.
And
Can't
who?
fault her for it. She's from Canada. She's
from Canada. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I know so many people in Canada. I have Gloria Roth, and we have Elsie, and Karen, and hi Canada. And of course I worked with a couple of Canadians one Canadian in Raiding the Rockfall, Todd Kearns, who of course is Slash's bass player. Todd Dammit Kearns.
Damn straight.
So yeah, we love our Canadians.
Hey.
Hey. Said that. I didn't say that. He said that. So thank you, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you, and you can feel free to submit any questions you have. Candy. Also, you wanted to know how your involvement with the Rock Vault came about.
2012. A gentleman by the name of Simon Napier Bell, who used to manage the Yardbirds and later on managed the English duo Wham and then the solo artist George Michaels. So he was George Michaels' manager for a number of years. And he had the idea. He had seen a tribute band of sorts, and he thought, what if I was to get a bunch of guys who've made albums, like toured, and have some sort of a name? What if I was to put them together with a real show, a script, a production, and playing cover songs? Not a tribute band per se, but more of a bunch of well-seasoned guys doing well-seasoned, well-known favorite songs. And that's really how it came about. We rehearsed, we picked the songs, we had a cast of 10 people, I think, on stage. We did our first show downtown LA, which was about 2 hours and 40 minutes. And we made a 3-minute sizzle out of that. And the producers took it to Vegas, and the Las Vegas Hilton, that used to be Elvis's home for all of his sold-out shows, they decided to give it a shot. We thought, maybe 1 or 2 weekends, we'll give it a shot, and it'll be all over. And then we came in, we rehearsed, we did our opening, and within a week or two, we had every single taxi, every single bus, every billboard on and off, every single on-off ramp on all of the freeways in and out of Vegas, down the entire length, 42 stories or something, of the Las Vegas Hilton. You could see us if you were landing at McCarran. And suddenly, Raiding the Rock Vault came to town. And as I said at the beginning, up until March 4th of 2020, we were up to almost 1,500 live shows. Amazing. We thought we'd be there for a weekend, and we were there for number one for the last 7 years. So there you have it. There's a little.
Wow.
Now we're gonna take it up to Brian, who has a sports question. There's a fight Saturday between McGregor and Poirier, and he wants to know what round does McGregor knock out Poirier on Saturday?
Oh dear.
Oh, it's because it's an Irishman.
Oh
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the guy he was anymore.
Who's that, McGregor? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's the guy he was anymore. If he comes out and does his job, he might win it. I think he might have gotten caught up in the hype. I think that sort of went against him a little bit. I don't know how to answer that. I hope he beats the shit out of him in the first couple of minutes.
Absolutely.
Let's just get straight to the point. I hope he kicks the shit out of him. Will he? I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I hope he does. Because he needs to get back in the game. Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah, I forgot about that fight.
who'd want to do that sport?
No.
I'm sticking to what I'm doing. I don't care how old I am.
Dude, MMA always kind of made me laugh because I was like into it like way back in like the early days and stuff like that. But I remember watching it and listening to the way some of these guys do like some interviews about how much they love getting into a fight. I'm watching this one interview of the guy's like, oh man, I love getting hit like right square in the face because that's how I know that I'm in the fight. I'm literally sitting there going like, you like getting hit in the face because you know you're in the fight. not me. I'm like,
he had his knee taken out in the last fight. That's what brought him down within the first couple of minutes.
I'm like, dude, I'm like, that is not the sport for me. Let me tell you what I like. I like heavy metal, I like horror movies, and I like hot girls with tattoos. I don't like getting hit in the face.
Yeah. Well, you know,
I'm not going there.
It puts a whole different meaning to kick the shit out of it, you know.
Bobby, you know you're our hottest girl.
Yeah. Robin doesn't want to
Nothing
fight
like a
you.
good
He knows
slam
that.
every now and then.
Yeah.
Exactly, for sure. Angel, bring us back, brother.
Yes.
Tommy Rice wants to know, how do you feel about playing with up-and-coming bands that are making a mark and fit in with most bands? Do you mind having them as openers?
Oh my God. I think some great new. I mean, you know, people keep ragging on Greta Van Fleet. Why? You know, they're keeping it alive. They play great. They sound great. You know, I love Mother Wolf. I love that new band, Killer.
Rival Sons.
Right. Yes. I mean, all of that. There's a whole bunch of sort of 70s sounding bands that I think are awesome. And I think they absolutely, keep it going. Why not? I think it's good for the bands. They need the open. They need that leg up. And some of them don't need that leg up. But I'd say anything that bands of our genre can do to reach out and help them, I will absolutely do it. Yeah. I think the more exposure they get, the better. I mean, it's music at the end of the day. You know, we all listen to. We all have our own personal tastes. So, yeah, let them get fired up. Go for it. Absolutely. Totally up for it. Yeah.
I'm going to take the question back to Brian, who has a music question. Outside of the U.S. and Ireland, where's your favorite city to perform?
Oh, my favorite thing to perform. Oh, dear God. I had a chance about 3 years ago. I got invited to a casino over on the East Coast, Seneca. And I got a chance to perform again with Lou Graham and Mickey Thomas and Terry Nunn from Berlin. And we had a 27-piece orchestra, and I got to perform Kashmir, the full version.
Wow.
And that was, dude, I think I might have teared up just a little bit, because when you start, and as soon as that orchestra kicks in, you're going, oh! It's like, I mean, it just gives you goosebumps, because you're going, this can't be me up here in front of real musicians, and it was just an incredible experience. And then I got to do the same thing again about 2 years ago in Vegas at the Las Vegas Hilton with another orchestra, and they said, "Can we do that? Because we saw you do that, and it was great." And we played for the Marines. They do a special Christmas thing for children, toys for tots.
Yeah.
And I did it there, and it was just as and Howard Leese played the Jimmy Page parts on that.
Wow.
Yeah, from Paul Rodgers and Hart, and that was pretty awesome. So we do Stairway to Heaven. I had a huge hit with the remake of Stairway to Heaven in 85, 86 with Bobby Kimball and myself.
Yeah,
and I think in the UK alone, I think we sold like 2 million singles.
Wow.
And a little aside here, the first time we ever performed it was on German TV, and Robert Plant was in the studio performing the same night, and I think Kate Bush. Do you guys remember Kate Bush?
Yeah.
And the band Slade, they were also on the bill. I think we had, no exaggeration, I think we had like 86 million viewers. And Robert Plant is in the studio pointing his finger at the back of my head going, "Why are you singing this song?" True story. True story. Yes. And I went, "I don't know why I'm singing this song, but talk to the producer. He has all the answers." And he did, and he got all his answers. Yeah. So there's a little piece of information, right?
Dang.
I'd be 20 deep into what? What does that say? That was a funny one. I'd be 20 deep into. Yes, me too.
This is cool. This is a first. No, the first time that a guest reads a fan
Really?
comment.
I know,
Yeah,
yeah, if it has my name on it, bet your ass I'm going to read
Yeah.
it.
Nice.
Great. I love it.
Absolutely.
It's a great show, guys, by the way. It's a great show.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
for sure.
Really, really fun. It's really
The guys have all worked really, really hard on the show
Really
and
fun.
stuff.
It
And we're
is.
very,
And
very
even
happy
our
with
guy
it.
behind the scene. We got to give Jamar
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
on
Yes.
everything.
Yep.
I can imagine Pilchin going absolutely overboard.
Oh, we've gotten definitely out of pocket on some episodes before, for sure. Definitely.
Oh,
It's all good. It's all good.
Absolutely, for sure. Angel, how we doing, my good dude?
You're doing awesome. I have a question. I'm a big fan of the song "Make It Better." Can you tell us about the making of that song?
From Black Swan?
Yep.
Make it there. Yeah, make it there. Oh my God.
Make it there.
That I remember they sent me the music, and there's actually a funny story attached to this. So, with regards to Frontiers Records, so Reb and Jeff, like everything else, would send me the music, and I found a good place for that melody and that lyric, and I came back to Jeff, and he goes, "Holy shit, dude, this is awesome!" So we recorded it, and he did a rough mix, and I think it might have been the first rough mix he sent to Serafino, and Serafino came back very quickly, and he goes, "Oh my God, if this was 1988, I'd be buying everybody a Ferrari." And I said, "Well, since it's not 1988, I guess we'll have to do it a Ford Focus."
pin up.
I'm not sure he got that, because I don't know if he knows what a Ford Focus is. I mean, my son has a Ford Focus. It's actually a great little car, but it's not a Ferrari. Just Irish sense of humor. So, yeah. But it's a beautiful song. And it's also, you guys probably wouldn't have heard it, but it's also the bonus track for Japan, acoustic. We did an acoustic version of it. And yeah, thanks. It's just, I love power ballads. It's just kind of my wheelhouse. And I'm always good for a good tearjerker. I always like to pick a lyric that reminds me of something or somebody that I know, and I'll always relate it to them. Hardly ever about a personal thing. It's usually about something or somebody that I know. And that's usually where it comes from, and maybe that's why it always has that sort of wow kind of a thing.
Yeah, it does.
It sounds a little pretentious, but I dig in and I'm going, okay, this is perfect for this piece of music. Yeah. But thanks for asking.
That's awesome. That's so super cool, for sure. So, Robin, the question that I wanted to take you in the next direction is a little bit of a two-part question. I just wanted to touch base a little bit about your time with Survivor. I guess I think that's super duper cool. So I wanted to ask you simply enough, like, how did you get involved with them? And just to put a little bit of fun on there, thanks to Brian, we can tie this back to some sports, considering that Survivor had multiple songs and multiple hits through the Rocky franchise. Had you seen those movies?
Oh yes, of course, absolutely. And in 1994, which was at the end of McAuley Schenker Group, nobody really wanted to listen to any more 80s music. It was Seattle, it was grunge, it was alternative, it was a different mindset for lyrics, delivery, the whole deal. And John Collado over at Geffen Records, he we tried to put Ricky Phillips, bass player, who's been with Styx for
he's been with Styx for a while now,
countless years. So John wanted to put Ricky and myself together. Ricky was out of bad English. I knew Ricky because Ricky had recorded a record with Fergie and Mausoleum Records. They wanted a different approach. Ricky called me and I re-recorded the whole record. And we recorded, there was a lot of John Waite songs on there. And then suddenly I get a call, not from Ricky, but from Frankie Sullivan. And Frankie Sullivan goes, hey, John Kolodno wants to put you and me together. He thinks it might be an interesting collaboration. I find out later it should have been Ricky Phillips and not Frankie Sullivan. Didn't matter. Anyway, so Frankie came into LA. We started writing a bunch of tunes. We finished and mixed a whole record. And this is in '94. Frankie said, I think you should join Survivor. And I said, what you should do is keep your singer, Jimmy Jamison, who's just the golden voice. And I think there was a little tension going on in there. I didn't get into it. I didn't want to know. And I declined. I didn't think it was the right band for me. I used to joke with Frankie, and I would always say, dude, it's a pop band. It's not a rock band. I need to join the rock band. And we would joke about it. And then 4 years on, Frankie called me and he goes, you ready to do this? And we got together again. I came out to Chicago. I spent a weekend in Chicago running through a Survivor set of like an unbelievable amount of songs. And I think a week later, I get an email going, we have a show with Eddie Money just outside of Chicago, probably about 20,000 people. I hope that's okay with you. And I'm going, I don't even know the songs. I don't even know how you start a song. I don't know how you finish a song. And he goes, you'll be fine. So I find myself on stage with Survivor after one rehearsal. And literally 16 to 20,000 people. And I had all my lyrics up on the keyboard. And I would tell Chris, the end of every song, just flip the page. Once I see the opening line, I'll be good to go. I have no idea how you guys ended, but that's what I need as my cue, because you play the intro and I won't remember the opening lines. And that's what we did, and we got through it. And we wrote a bunch of songs that never actually got released. And I think a month or two into joining, we got a slot on Dancing with the Stars. And how that works on Dancing with the Stars is, we had American Idol literally across the hallway at CBS Studios in LA. And we were in at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and the band is not going to play live, but the stupid singer has to sing live, right? And so there you are at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they're like, here comes the track, and there's all of these people standing around, and it's like, it's 9 o'clock and I haven't had nearly enough coffee. And they're running the track. We got it done. We did the show, and we actually, a little bit more info. American Idol had been, I don't know if it was because of Survivor, but American Idol had been holding the #1 most viewers slot until that night, and we had 58 million viewers. And I remember the program director came up to me and she's got her notepad and she's going, 5 minutes. And by the way, we just took the #1 slot over from American Idol, and good luck. And I went, oh my God, so if you, excuse my French, if you fuck up, they're going to do it in front of 58 million people. And we went, no pressure. We rolled, no pressure. We rolled for about 5 or 6 years. I was with Survivor. And, it was a great time, a great catalog of songs. I enjoyed it all. unfortunately, I never really broke a sweat with Survivor because they just didn't work enough. You know, that would be my only complaint. You know, they still don't work enough. So, and I like I like nuts and bolts in the band. That's why I enjoy the guys around me, Black Swan and that sort of MSG stuff. Everybody's always, they're always pumped, always ready to go. There's a great enthusiasm. You know, it's a band. It feels like a band. So, but a great time. Loved, great honor to sing those amazing songs, and God rest Jimmy Jameson, just incredible. And of course, Dave Bickler is still with us, and he's phenomenal. So,
absolutely, no, for sure, man. That's
here's my story. You didn't need all that information, but you got it.
Oh no, we are a stories type of place. You know, we did a very cool interview with one of the bands at M3, like I had mentioned, and a question that I had asked, I had a rough idea of what the answer I thought was going to be, and a member of the band was like, well, can I be honest? And we were like, yeah, of course you can. He's like, it almost destroyed the band. And I'm like, that is not really what you were going to
I'm not destroying anybody. These are just simple day-to-day how it ran. And it's just, you know, we're all still here, and you know, we all love each other and talk to each other, and it's, you know, it's just how it is, you know.
Oh, absolutely. So that's one of the reasons that we love stories, man, because we might even have something roughly in our mind that we're going, and then find out that it was a completely different thing. So yeah, Robin, story it up, dude.
And you know, I keep asking me the question, you know, which was a very obvious question. You know, recently, of course, I did Standing on the Edge, my solo record, and almost right across the board, hundreds of interviews, people go, say, dude, so how come it's like now 2021 and your last solo record was in 1999? And of course, my smart ass answer is always going to be, dude, I don't like to rush into things, you know?
Yeah.
And the truth of that is, it was never meant to be a solo record. It was a collaboration between myself and Frankie Sullivan. We wrote a record. We couldn't give it away. In '94, nobody wanted it because it didn't fall into the new genre of music at the time, and so it sat on the shelf. And a Japanese label, Big MF Records, picked it up, and Frankie went, forget it, put your name on it. But that was a solo record, and there you have it.
Nice.
That's how that became a solo record. I called it Business as Usual because I wanted people to believe that, you know, things just keep going.
Absolutely.
Basically. And so all of those years later, I come out with Standing on the Edge, and people are going, how come we didn't do what we do? It's because I'm not a solo. I don't regard myself as I don't feel, I just don't have that kind of an ego that I need to do a solo record. Look at me. It's not that important to me.
For sure, man. No, I definitely understand it. Psycho Steve, let's bring you back in for the next segment, my good dude.
All right. So I have no talent, hence, you know, these guys have the talent. I just have the jokes in the show. The question is, speaking of your talent, do you have a ritual? Like, do you sing in the shower? Do you have a ritual before your show? Like, you don't talk? Because I know some artists that I've interviewed in the past don't talk before a show. And
That's the one right there. That is the one 24/7. Rituals, I use facial steamer, mostly just plain water, steam, the eucalyptus, not too much. Sometimes a little tea tree oil because it's got an antibiotic in it. It just clears out the stuff. Very important. Silence, though, is the golden key. Also, diet. I won't eat probably about 4 hours before a show, because the last thing an audience member needs is a little reflux and all of your dinner from 10 minutes because you got it for free, you know, on the rider backstage. And I know a lot of guys, not singers, who absolutely chow down before they hit the stage. And then you have to suffer all the flatulence up there and all the other shit. And that is the true story too. I mean, ask anybody. But for me,
so I got to ask then, who farts the worst?
Usually keyboard players.
That's because they think they can get. That's because they think they can get away with it.
Because they're over there, you see.
Yeah, nobody goes over near the keyboard player.
And they think nobody's gonna notice, you know. And all you got to do is, cross the the green line. And so yeah, that's. I don't talk a lot. I mean, if I use the Vegas show as an example, because you would perform 5 nights a week, you have a different audience 5 nights a week because people are coming through Vegas. And as far as they're concerned, it's not something they saw last night. They see it for the first time. So there can't be any excuses of like, I'm not feeling well, and people get sick. Especially, believe it or not, in Vegas because the weather is extremely dry. It's very, very dusty. And there's a thing that they call Vegas throat that everybody suffers. It's just a little, it's like you got a frog. So you have to, if you care, you have to take a great deal of prep work. At least I do. I walk at least an hour every day in the morning. I do the no eating thing, and I do the facial steamers. I do warm-ups. I do warm-downs. And all of that is done very quietly. And the only time I talk is talking to dudes like you.
Yeah.
Right. Second question is, if you could play with anyone that is performing wise, like a bucket list band, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my God. Oh dear. Steve, I've played with people I never, ever, ever in my wildest dream thought I'd have the honor of walking up on stage with. From guitar players to bass players to drummers to keyboard players. I have a huge list of people that I've had that amazing honor. And I'm going to go back to the snotty-nosed kid from Ireland. It's like going, are you serious, dude? Not in in your wildest dreams will that ever happen. Paul Rodgers was one of my biggest idols. And he came out to the show as I'm singing All Right Now. And I mean, talk about being scared shitless, And he's out there going, yeah, dude, right? And Lou Gramm, another one. Lou Gramm in his heyday with Foreigner. I mean, pay attention, listen to that man, how he delivers the song. It's just unbelievable. My background of who I would listen to was Motown. That's really? I spent all my early years. I mean, the Four Tops, the Drifters, the Platters, the Temptations. I mean, I used to think, now this is real music, great lyrics, great hook lines, and I always kind of attribute Motown to where my melodies come from and all of that sort of, you gotta have the hook line, you gotta have this. It's like, how else is somebody gonna remember the song if there isn't a little hook on that sort of stuff? And I've always just loved, and of course I was 12 years of age the first time I ever saw Thin Lizzy.
I was going to bring up Phil, another bass player.
I was 12 years of age, dude. I was sitting cross-legged on a floor in a tiny little club because they had released Whiskey in the Jar that would only get played on a station called Radio Luxembourg out in the middle of Europe. Daytime rock music didn't exist on Irish radio, let alone even English radio at the time. And it was an old Rebel song that they recut. And I saw that lineup with Phil, Brian Downey, of course, always on drums, and Eric Bell on guitar.
And who?
Eric Bell, the original guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
And next time I tried to see them, I couldn't get within about an hour's drive because it was just so jam-packed. Wow. And then as the years went on, I had the great pleasure of actually playing and recording and performing with both Scott Gorham and Brian Robertson. So to answer your question, Steve, in terms of a bucket list of who I'd really like to play with, man, I think if these are the only people I ever play with, I don't know if I need to play with anybody else.
Absolutely.
Elvis, maybe Elvis.
Oh, dude, if I could see you fronting a band with like Phil Lynott on bass and like Brian May on guitar, the only thing that I would then need
I would go with Rory on guitar. I would definitely go with Mr. Gallagher right there.
No, Gallagher would be fantastic, but if I ever saw Robin play with Phil on bass and Brian on guitar, personally, the only thing I would want after that concert is a highway and a truck. Like, just take me out for like.
Oh, you're too kind. Oh my God! Yeah, they wouldn't need. Well, Phil wouldn't need me to sing because he had a swagger to his vocals that only he had, and that's what made Lizzie. And his lyrics, of course, he wrote poetry as well. Yeah, he's a great storyteller. I love songs of stories, like a book, beginning, a middle, and an end, and they go somewhere, and I like that.
Absolutely, especially when you go from the area of like, you go from Jailbreak to Black Rose to Johnny Fox. I'm gonna kick this up to Bobby because it's his segment, because you don't want to get me started on Thin Lizzy, or the other guys will never get back in on this. Bobby,
so my 50th birthday, the day probably 2 weeks before, I was with a bass player, Doug Pinnock.
Oh,
I get a DUI. I'm getting ready to go to Ireland, and I get popped. And Doug calls me. I'm in the back of a cop car, and he goes, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Oh, I just got pulled over, you son of a bitch!" So, and he's laughing at me, and I'm like, "Oh shit." So fast forward, my lawyer goes, "Look, go get an international driver's license so you can drive over there before they'll take your license." So I go to a Deer, and I'm sitting there, and I go into this little pub in a Deer, and the woman goes, "Do you play?" I'm like, "Yeah." It was like a scene out of American Werewolf in London. 4 a.m, she's inviting everybody back to her house to cook breakfast. We're sitting there in this pub, and it's like we're doing everything from Thin Lizzy tunes to Rory, playing Bad Penny, to playing, John Legend tunes. And I'm like sitting here going, does this shit? Then we go to Galway 2 days later, up to the horse races.
Oh.
You guys kicked my ass in Ireland. I thought I could party. If people only think Ireland is U2, no.
Drink responsibly. I have we have twin boys, right? They're young men now. They're 22 years of age. But when they were 18, they said that they would really like to go to Ireland for their birthday. So Gina and I said, yeah, okay. We were kind of thinking about the same thing. So then my son Jamie, and of course they'd had a taste of beer at home.
Yeah.
But legally in Ireland, well, what's legal? Right? What's legal? Okay. So Jamie said, so are we going to go to the Guinness Brewery? And I went, well, that's definitely on the itinerary, right?
That's a bucket.
My wife loves itineraries, right? And so we get into Guinness, and Jamie is hitting the Guinness, right? He kills the first pint of Guinness. I mean, right, first taste ever, right? And I'm going, steady on there, kid, because that'll sneak up on you. 3 pints of Guinness later, and I'm going, are you kidding me? He goes, oh, Dad, why didn't you tell me this is really good stuff? Well, there's always a backside to every story. Back, no pun intended. He had diarrhea for about 3 days.
Did you take him over to Jameson then? Did you go down to Cork?
I did. No, we went to Cork. Yes, we visited most places, but that did not compensate for the. And I said, it's the Guinness. And he goes, of course it's not the Guinness, Dad. And I went, okay, have another pint, see how that works. So, question, Bobby, did you have the Guinness when you were there?
Oh, of course. But you know what the worst thing was, Robin? You guys should not ride bicycles and let Americans drive over there, because driving on the wrong side of the road.
But there is that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the right side for you guys, but I'm like sitting there. I got yelled at because I almost took so many bikers out on roads.
Well, don't feel so bad, because I've lived here 33 years now. Okay. And I can think of many instances, just like you're describing, where I've come out of a gas station, or as they call it, petrol, right? I've come out of a gas station, dude, on my side, on my side of the street, and you know, the expletives in a good Irish brogue, they've got a little edge to them. So yeah, I've made the same mistake. It's pretty scary driving on their side of the road.
Well,
Really.
I got to tell all our fans, look, if you think you can drink, never try to outdrink an Irishman.
Oh, I don't know. The Scots will battle you on that one.
They're okay, you know, but it's like, I don't know. It's like I said, we went to it. I was only supposed to be in a deer for 2 days. And I was there for about 3, 4, but then we went up to Galway, and it was.
And you remember. That's a plus.
Well, Galway turned into a week, and it was just. It was during the horse race and everything else, and I'm like going, "This is a fucking party and a half."
Oh yeah, I just see this underneath here. It's true. If anybody goes to Ireland, you got to go to Guinness. You got to go to Jameson. You got to just see all that good stuff. At least taste the stuff. You know.
And the great thing is you go to England and you go, God, their food sucks. And I'm going, man, I had the best food in Ireland.
Plus, there is a plus to going to the pub. It really does not close. Unless you're in the city. If you're in the country.
Oh, no, it doesn't close. And then they invite you home. I sat there. I have pictures. I'm like, this woman's like, no, we're cooking breakfast. Come on over. And have you ever had...
I'm just looking for a green
what
card.
was it, haggis? Or I was like, oh, shit.
Bobby, did you hear me? They're just looking for a green card. Oh, yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
What the hell is haggis? Look, I eat scrapple. So what is haggis? Tell people what that is.
Oh, well, haggis is not Irish. Haggis is Scottish. And it's basically the innards of a sheep. I bet you can't wait to try it now.
Oh, I did try it.
Yeah, and it's got like lots of different meal and just to bind it. And
hey, Steve, see, you can eat that. It's
blood and blood, and put together with blood and all of that sort of stuff. It's yeah.
It's acquired.
And then some. And you try that with a pint of Guinness, and dude, you're off to the races.
You're instantly Irish.
You are. Look at this. This is great.
Look, I got to laugh, though, Robin. With Ireland being such a small country, you really, and this is the last part, but you guys really cultivated a lot of different genres of music. Everybody from the Cranberries to them, to you guys, to you two. You know, it was so many different genres over the year. I mean, you went from punk to, you know, but there's a lot of angst in every different genre.
Yeah, it's really big. It goes back to the traditional music because, you know, we were a very much oppressed race of people, and you know, there's always and I'm gonna just glance over this. I don't think the world in a lot of areas when they talk about slavery understand to the extent that Irish were slaves, and I mean big time extent. Big slavery out of Ireland. They were transported to Australia, transported here, there, and everywhere. And so out of that whole historical event, if you will, come those lyrics that are usually stories about the son and the daughter and all of that sort of stuff. And of course, the complete invasion by the British to eradicate anything and everything that was Irish culture, their language, their religion, all of that they were stripped of all of it. So I think there's a number of reasons to be slightly pissed off about that. And then there is the generation that will never let it go. And then they carry it forward to the next generation and the next generation. And so we had all of that awful troubles, as they called it, up in the north of the country, which was still under British rule, still is under British rule.
Yeah.
And so the country was divided, and there was always that angst in the lyrics, content, and it spilled from the punk. It didn't matter what the genre of music was, you know. I mean, look at one of the biggest hits, "Zombie" from Cranberries.
Yeah.
Listen to those lyrics, and there's the whole history of Ireland, bang, as she saw it, right?
No, it's all about war and struggle and
yeah, and I wonder how many people until "Host," the song was a huge hit, if they actually knew what the hell she was singing about.
Totally, it's kind of the thing, because it's that pop music sound and stuff like that. But I was a big fan of the late great Dolores O'Riordan. She was absolutely fantastic for sure. Yeah. But you're definitely right about that stuff.
Yeah, and so I've never completely agreed with music as a platform for politics and airing the laundry. And of course, tell that to Bob Dylan. Right? So, people have their platform and they use it as they need to. That's all I can say about it. So, yeah, I think we went off. We got a little.
No.
People don't think he's Irish now, dude. He's harboring some real bent up sort of stuff there, dude. No, he's not. No, he's not.
Well, look, we could throw it another way, Robin, too, before we change the segment. Look, you have the greatest writer ever and my hero, Oscar Wilde.
Oh, dude.
I'm the biggest, OW fan.
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. And then, of course, there was W.B. Yeats. Also,
yes.
Right? Yes. And, of course, there's plenty of pubs named after them. Back to the pub scene. We mustn't lose the pub scene. It's very important. That's where you learn a lot of your Irish history, in the pubs, very late at night, or in somebody's house associated with the pub.
Of course. How do I get home? No.
Yes. Sure, you might as well stay. Yeah.
There's got to be somewhere that you can lie down.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Absolutely, for sure. But now, like we said before, Robin, we're all about the stories, brother, so you don't even have to sweat it, for sure. So, Angel, absolutely. Angel, let's kick it over to you, brother. How are the Metal Summoners doing?
Awesome. We definitely got some more really good fan questions.
We covered just about everything here, haven't we?
Almost. I got some stuff still.
Our producer, Jamar, wants to know, what is the key to a long, happy marriage?
Ooh. A really nice, good wife. A good wife. A man is only as good as the woman standing beside him. And I have been very fortunate. She's just everything that I need in my life. You could get soppy about the whole thing, but the truth of the matter is, we spend so much time together that ordinarily, might drive some people mad, but us, it's quite the opposite. We decided 30 years ago now, since we met, that we weren't going to get married to be apart, like go do your own stuff and all of that thing. It was a very conscious decision, and of course, things can go wrong, and is it always smooth sailing? It's never been bad sailing. We didn't really hit any rough seas, thank God. And I'm very grateful for my wife. and my two boys, our young men, and everything that we have. And you don't take it for granted. I certainly don't, and I know that she doesn't. We talk about it all the time. Maybe that's what it is. We talk to each other, not at each other. And we love each other's company, and we have a lot of fun doing nothing in as much as we have fun when we actually put the effort in to go out and do something together. So, you know, it doesn't take much to entertain us. Really, it's very simple. It's very, very simple, and we like to keep it that way. You know,
That's awesome.
I hope that answers the question.
Yes, it does. We appreciate, like I said, you sharing something that is personal.
Yeah, it's a great little, you know, on Standing on the Edge, I actually dedicated an entire song to my wife called Late December. And, you know, as lovers of music and musicians, you know, if you've been writing power ballads and love songs for years, you always get that, who's that about? Is that about me? And when it came to the solo record, I thought, I'm going to sneak one in here that will actually kind of catalog our time together. And we did actually meet and make a decision of being together in the month of December. And I had a rough mix. I sent it to her, and I go, hey, this is the ballad. What do you think? And then I got these little emojis back with a tear and a heart. And she goes, is that about me? And then finally. So yeah, and I don't mind spilling that stuff because she is important. She keeps me grounded. I know where I stand, and that's really important going forward. So, as I said, 28 years this October. So,
Wow.
Lucky am I.
Nice, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, did I say same woman? Yeah. Same woman.
I'm going to take it to a woman, Kim Sullivan. She wants to know, can you talk about when you opposed the name change from Michael Schenker Group to McAuley Schenker Group?
Yeah, it wasn't me. Honest to God, truthful. I was the last of 17 singers.
Wow.
I was the last of 17 4 years prior when I was with my London band called Grand Prix. Michael, Chris Glenn, the late and great Cozy Powell, and keyboard player Andy Nye came to see Grand Prix perform at a show in London, and it was a kind of a warm-up prior to going out with, I think it was Sammy Hagar on the Stanley Hampton album. We were the opening act. And I got a call the next morning from Cozy Powell's sort of press people that Michael was very impressed, was in the rehearsal room, and I got invited down to the rehearsal room, and I went, well, I'm leaving for a tour, and I just can't do it. And what was I supposed to do? Call the band and go, I know you guys are leaving today for tour. I'm not coming. I'm going to the rehearsal room. And then I might have got to the rehearsal room, and Schenker would have hated what I did to the MSG songs, which would have been Gary Barden songs at the time. And so I got really bad press out of it. I remember Kerrang! Magazine in London put this article out, and they went, who does this Irish upstart think he is, refusing to join Michael Schenker? And I went, that's not really that cut and dried. 4 years later, I think I told you earlier, we had Stairway to Heaven remake with myself and Bobby Kimball under the name of Fall Corporation. And it was flying up the charts. And Rudolf Schenker heard it on the radio and was talking to Michael, and he goes, this is great. Who is this? And Michael goes, oh, that's Robin that refused to join me 4 years ago or whatever. And so they tracked me down, got me in. I was the last of 17 singers. Klaus Meine Rudolf Schenker, Michael Schenker, the management company, they decided that I should be the dude. And then Michael called me, and he said, we'd really like you to be the singer. And he said, there's something else. He said, I know how much you've always told. We were stablemates because Grand Prix and Michael Schenker Group were all in Christmas records together. So we all knew each other. And Michael said, I know you like the MSG logo. So here's the deal. You get to keep the logo, but I want to change the name. Your last name starts with the initial M. I want it to be called McAuley Schenker Group. We can still keep the MSG. And we changed the first name. And I told him, I said, I think it's the worst decision ever. And I don't want it. It's not that important to me. It's more important to keep Michael Schenker Group is established. Everybody knows who you are. It's like we just carry on. Easy. You just have a new singer. What's the big deal? He goes, no, I want a partner. I want somebody that I can trust, somebody I can talk to, somebody who can take the reins and run with it, because I'm fed up doing it. Where people are coming to me and going, Michael. And I went, so you think I'll be able to answer the questions? And if I make a decision that you're not happy with, it'll be your decision anyway. We went through all of that. And the rest we know that it did get changed. It was called McAuley Schenker Group. It did exactly what I thought it would do. You could find it in a Scorpions bin, a UFO bin, a Michael Schenker Group bin, a simple MSG bin, or a McAuley Schenker Group bin. It was all over the place. And the record label Capitol here in the States had an absolute nightmarish task in front of them, because they would have these cards with arrows pointing it to the appropriate bin. And I'm going, look at all this shit just for a name change. And, you know, I got other bad press because people went, oh, this singer that he picked has absolutely destroyed MSG. All of these commercial songs and changed the whole thing. And this is not the man that it used to be. It was the first time he charted. First time he got MTV play, first time he got VH1 play. And of course, in 88, 89, if you didn't have the MTV and the VH1, and if you didn't chart, guess what? You just didn't get picked up for a tour. Even if you were third on the opening act, you just didn't get it. So all of those factors were like, you know, and then you hand in your album and the AOR guy is going, I don't hear the single. Write the single, you know, and we had all of that. So I was like, what do we do? Write by numbers? You know, I am a single. Pick me. And, you know, Give Me Your Love was the first one out the door. MTV picked it up. And whatever happened after that. So that's really how the name change came around. And, of course, Michael always owns the MSG logo. So at any point when McAuley Schenker was over, it was a very easy transition to go back to MSG, which always existed, and back to Michael Schenker Group, or Michael Schenker Fest, call him. And the fest was basically a celebration of everybody that he had collaborated with. Great idea. Nice. So I hope that answers it. It's a bit of a long story, but it's it's a true story. You heard it here first. Yeah.
And speaking of stories, one of your biggest fans, Susan, actually has a question. She wants to know, what's the wildest interaction you've ever had with a fan, either during or after one of your performances?
Was it with you, Susan? You can tell me. I'm a doctor. No. I remember, because it was a very painful memory. When the Black Crowes released Check Your Moneymaker, they were our opening act on a U.S. tour. And I remember we played Ventura Theater. And we were close to the end of the set. And it was a pretty high stage. And then some dude decided that his wife and or his girlfriend should be on his shoulders.
Oh, no.
And so she ended up on his shoulders, which now puts her at a different level to me standing on the stage. And so as she's lunging forward, the place was packed. As she's lunging forward, she whips her top off just to give my attention even more. And then there's so many people, he kind of stumbles and she lunges forward. And as she lunges forward, she moves towards the stage and she grabs very tightly to save her from falling, taking a face plant. She grabs the crown jewels. And so, Susan, you asked the question. So the crown jewels shot, true story, shot right through the top of my head because I'm in excruciating pain. And I hobbled, true story, fuck. I hobbled off the stage and I ended up in the restroom for an extended period of time. The band had to finish the set instrumentally. And then my manager was knocking on the door. He goes, dude, there's an encore. And I'm going, I can't move. I can't even walk. And he goes, you have to walk. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. And push them back down into place. And I came back out and finished the encore. So it's not something that you could forget. Since you asked, wow. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Susan. Thanks for the explanation. Oh, yes. Yes. Oh. You heard it here, folks.
That's pretty rad.
Right?
Fun fact, the crown jewels are delicate.
Yeah.
God, imagine if they're still together.
Yeah. What is that? Is it fencing where they go lunge?
Yes.
Yeah. Parlay.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. Careful what you ask because I will tell you.
Awesome.
Here's a good question from Jeannie. She wants to know: Have you ever had a protege that you took under your wing?
Never. No. People have come to me and ask me questions like you do. It's like I'm a singer, I'm new to it, or I've been singing for a long time, and what do you do that I don't do that would work for me? It's kind of backstage conversations of how we deal with the instrument, if you will. You pack it away neatly every night, you take it out in the morning, you polish it. What do you do? That sort of stuff. Yeah, never had I don't know if anybody would see me qualified enough for them to be a protege of mine. That would be, yeah. I mean, thank you, but that's not going to happen.
Robin, just give him a bullshit excuse. Look, it takes a very large woman.
No, I mean, I could go down that road, but
yeah, you just sit there and go, you massage your throat with peanut butter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see what they say.
Yeah. You never know how that's going to end up, Yeah. And I'm very shy. I'm actually very shy. I mean, and I know, and I get embarrassed easily. And I have. You didn't ask this question, but I started my life out as a drummer.
Really?
And I sucked, and I wanted to be the greatest drummer in the world. And I used to do backup singing, as a drummer, and I felt really safe and secure. And then ended up at the front of the kit one night singing, and people goes, "Dude, you're a far better singer than you are a drummer." Don't hurt my feelings at all. And I actually still regard myself. I don't really see myself as a singer. I'm somebody who sings. I don't know if I'm a singer. I wish I had been a great drummer. That's the truth of it all. I like singing. I have great fun doing it. But am I a singer? I sing songs, but I don't know if I'm a singer. I don't know about all that.
Well, we think you're a singer, and we love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I mean, again, I'm not dissing it. I really enjoy it. I'm very grateful, and I'm glad you all do. But it's kind of something I do, and I don't really think too much about it.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious about my performance and how I am on the night and how I'll be tomorrow night and all of that sort of stuff. And I spend a lot of time. My wife will attest to it. She would go, "You just have to think that you're going to get sick, and you're sick. And that's it's that easy. Yeah. I dig holes for myself. Yeah. I do.
And we fill them with stories.
Yes.
Yes, and ideas. Peanut butter massage.
Yeah. Right. Angel, I might try that, dude.
Yeah, me too.
Well, you know,
I'm writing that
Banned
down.
in 48 states, though. 49
yeah,
states.
gotta watch that. 49 it says 40. You know, but
But it's not banned in the bedroom.
Well, we'll just go to that other state.
Angel, that was actually a really good answer.
That was very good.
Yeah, dude, just do it in the bedroom.
Yes.
Yes, I'm definitely gonna try
Spatulas.
peanut butter massage. Love
Yeah,
in the elevator.
Spatula is not included.
yeah,
That's extra.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna go to a comment from a nurse, Rose. She wants to congratulate Gina on her nursing training accomplishments. She's
Oh, thank you,
fellow
Rose. Where's Rose from?
nurse, Delaware.
Delaware.
Yeah, she comes to a lot of rock shows in the
Thank
area.
you,
We've
Rose.
met her a few times. Very sweet person.
Yeah, a very short and long of that is in the 30 years that we've known each other, that actually has been on Gina's bucket list. With me touring, raising two boys, there was never that space or whatever. And, when Gina came to this country, she spoke little to no English. And she
really.
Yes. And she spoke, and I used to speak pretty decent German. She's Austrian, so Austrian German. And so she went to college, and she has several degrees under her belt. Several.
Wow.
And look at her! Isn't that gorgeous?
Wow.
Yeah. And she always wanted.
She stole my look.
Yeah. She always wanted to be a nurse. And believe it or not,
Well,
when Mr. Pandemic hit,
I wouldn't care.
yeah, when Mr. Pandemic hit, she said, "Now that you're home and you're not in Vegas anymore, how would you feel about it?" And I went, "You've been putting this off and putting it off," and so off she went, and she just finished level 3. Starts level 4 next week, and
That's awesome.
she's already I'm going to praise her now. She's not listening. She's already in line to be valedictorian. That's how well she did.
Look,
Yeah.
Robin, I'll throw this out. Look, I just graduated with my 2nd degree and graduated summa cum laude. I'm getting ready to start my 3rd. So look, I'm 56 years old and I love it. So give her kudos.
Fantastic.
Encourage her all the way. She's, don't let age or anything, do it. Hey, look, it's a blast, and that's what it is. This stuff is.
And it's never over, dude. It's never over. It's
No, as long as your mind works. Look, as long as somebody's not putting diapers on me, I'm okay.
I know. I'm just counting down the days. At least I'll have somebody to put the diapers on. There's a method. There's a method in my madness. Just
you set yourself up for success.
Yes.
I saw this coming, dude, and I went, you know what? Remember that nursing school you wanted to go to? I think it might be a good time.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Well, the 4 of us started this show during a pandemic, and it's been. We never thought it would come to what we are, and we're on what, Angel? What's this? Our 74th?
72nd,
72.
72.
Awesome. Congrats, dude. Awesome.
Yeah. So, your wife too. Congrats. Keep going. Rock on.
Absolutely.
And to all of our nurses.
It can happen. It can happen. You just got to do it. Do it.
Absolutely, for sure.
And we'll take
Angel,
one fan question from Kim
man.
Sullivan. She wants to know, did you pick the song Run to the Hills to perform, or were you asked to do that particular song for numbers from the Beast All-Star tribute?
Bob Cooley picked the song.
Wow.
And I don't know if you know it, but Michael Schenker plays lead break on that.
Really?
Yes, sir. And Brian Tishy plays drums on that.
We love Brian.
Yeah, we love Brian. Yeah. He's the man. So yes, Bob picked the song. Yeah. Yeah.
We just had the opportunity to be with the Iron Maidens this weekend in M3, which really blew our door. And we got to give kudos to Courtney. We love Courtney, but man, just hearing people doing Paul Di'Anno and Bruce Dickinson, it's amazing, you know.
Yeah, in my Grand Prix days, digressing a little bit, we knew Bruce when he was the singer of the band Samson.
Yes.
And we Grand Prix performed at the then Reading Festival. And Maiden were headlining with Paul Di'Anno.
Wow.
And Samson were on earlier in the day. And Samson and Rob, we were all rehearsing in the same studio in London. And Bruce came in the next week after the festival, and he said, dudes. Well, he didn't say dudes because they don't say dudes in London. But he said, so Harry came to me and he asked me to join Maiden. And I don't know what to do. And I think we kind of half pummeled him to death because I don't know what to do. And Peace of Mind tour was Bruce's first Maiden tour, and we were the opening act for that entire tour.
Wow.
More trivia.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right on, for sure. Angel, let me kick it back up to you, buddy. Did we have any more fan questions?
Nope, that's all the
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes, mates in London. Whoa, that was fast.
Absolutely.
Actually, it wasn't mates. It was John Henry's, but that doesn't matter. Because there is no mates in London, but there's mates in LA.
Very true, for sure. So fans, just to let you guys know, it is last call for alcohol, guys. Get your final questions, get your final comments to Robin in there as we've got down to the last few minutes that we're going to have with him, guys. So fan questions, last call for alcohol. But Angel, question of your own, brother?
Yeah, with this, you're 9 songs in. How is the album shaping up?
It's hard to follow the first one, but so far I think we're doing tremendously well. We're loving it. It's going to be pretty kick-ass. That's all I can tell you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's good enough for us. We know. Don't want to give too much away.
No. But so far, we are. It's sounding great. It's sounding amazing. Yeah, I'm very excited about it, and can't wait for you guys to hear it. Yeah.
Excited, man, for sure. We definitely are. So we were just having a nice little segment talking about Gina. So let's keep it about the family because I want to talk about Casey. Because from my understanding, you guys perform on stage often.
Well, not often, but when we did the Vegas show.
Oh, okay.
He would, Doug Aldridge actually would drag him up to play on Highway to Hell.
Oh, okay.
And slap one of his Les Pauls on my son. And
Wow.
Doug was amazing. Doug would come out and he'd go, I'm not playing it, you're playing it. And he would completely stand back and push him out to the front. And a big moment for Casey. And he can throw it down. And he's a great singer. He's got this like stupidly high voice. Yeah.
Oh, nice, man. So how has that got to be for you, though? I mean, that's got to be a proud papa moment, dude, seeing him next to you.
I mean, yeah, and he's like 6'3", so he towers over me.
Oh, my God, really?
Yeah, so does my other son. They're both. And my other son, Jamie, if you can check him out on YouTube, big skater. So he's got pretty heavy clips all over the place, yeah. So they're total crash and burn dudes, you know.
Skater.
Extreme sports and heavy metal music, like.
So he skates.
And no, skateboard.
Yeah.
I was semi-pro. I still do. Hit the plate. So as you can see around my I've been skating since '74. Skated with Alva and everybody else. So,
my God. Yeah. Killer. Yeah.
Still doing it.
my wife is petrified every time he goes out because he's had so many injuries. But fortunately, he gets up and he gets up and walks away. I know.
Hey, Robin, this is where you gotta get him though.
Oh, he's busting out the wheel.
No way, dude. What do you have? Are you kidding? Yeah, I'm not sure he would. Yeah.
A little bit of VH on it. Come on, you got to do a little tribute to Ed.
I can see it.
Oh yeah. Thanks, Bobby. Gina's gonna love that shit.
Yeah.
I told you. How good do you know your wood?
Yeah.
That's how good do you know your wheel? No, so that's super duper cool. Did Casey always show like a quick interest in music, like right away?
Actually, that's an excellent question. He said he always wanted to play guitar, so I spent a small fortune sending him for guitar lessons, and I would take him to guitar lessons on a Saturday morning, whatever it was. And then he wouldn't practice, and I would go, "You're not practicing guitar." He goes, "No, Dad, I don't need to practice." And then he would not follow through on his notations or lessons. And come next week, he'd be like, he'd never move forward. And I bought him a short scale Squire Strat. And then he goes, I don't want to play guitar anymore. And I went, okay. I didn't want to, it had to be something that he wanted to do.
Good.
So he said, but I didn't want to play saxophone. And I went, sure you do, right? So he goes to junior high, and wow, man, he starts playing saxophone. He's in the first chair. And I'm going, damn. And then he started performing. Then he went back to took him back to the same music school. And they teach a variety of instruments. And then before I know it, he's actually performing at the Whiskey, a Go-Go in Hollywood. He's performing at the Roxy. He's performing in all of these places with the school, and he's doing an absolute killer job. And he's got the whole look. He's got the curls, hair but mine. He's got wearing the fedora. He's got the sax. And I'm going, this is bitchin' cool. And he absolutely loved it. We'd go to the NAMM show every year. He would go to he'd play every saxophone on the floor. We'd be there for hours. My wife would be going, oh, Jesus, if I hear one more saxophone, right? Anyway, like everything else, he goes, I don't want to play saxophone anymore. And I went, this is kind of becoming a habit. And late and great Elliot Rubinson, who owns Dean Guitars and has since passed, God rest him. So I spoke to Elliot, and we were laughing about it. I was actually on tour with Schenker at the time. And Elliot goes, is he serious? And I went, well, he says he is. And he goes, I've got the guitar for him. If he's serious, I've got the guitar. So Elliot sent him the guitar, and he went from the short scale to a full-on, and I don't know what happened. I have no idea what happened, but somebody flicked a switch, and he plugs it into that amp, dude, and it was almost like, huh? Did you just play that? Yeah. And then he would bring up Schenker videos, and he would bring up Henry videos, and Scorpion stuff, always classic rock, always the classic rock. And he would just started churning out all of these riffs like he wrote them. And I went, damn. And so I went, I guess you're playing guitar then. And then he, when he would come out to Vegas, and if Doug was in the show, or Tracy Guns, as the case would be, or Howard would go, hey, Casey, you coming up? And they'd always get him up on Highway to Hell, was at the end of the set. And he would just kill it. And of course, he wanted to play more. Once you get the feel, it's like, can I stay up here? And I go, it doesn't work like that. Still a show. And yeah, but he got the spotlight big time. Yeah, and he's great. He's great.
Nice, man. Nice. And was it the same? And it was the same for skating as well, like an early interest.
Skating actually, because you were talking about. They started watching Lords of Dogtown.
Yeah. I grew up with all those guys.
All right, so Steve Padilla,
Yep.
was their teacher.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, he was their teacher, and there's a place close to our house called Skate Lab here, in where we
Yeah.
live.
No.
And they went, and Steve was their teacher from the age of maybe 4 till maybe 9. We spent every waking hour at Skate Lab, and
Not a bad thing.
no, a great environment. They would do those all-nighters, where they go in and eat pizza all night and skate throughout. And then the helmets and the knee pads go, and they just started getting bigger and taller and taller and taller. And Jamie's got the golden locks like Gina does, and he continued. He lives for the skateboard. And Casey not so much. Casey picked up the guitar, and Casey went that direction, and Jamie went on the 4 wheels. Yeah.
So we're based out of, Robin? What area in California?
We're out on the borderline of Ventura County and LA County.
Okay.
Near Westlake Village.
All right. Because usually when I'm out there, I either skate Culver with Alva, or I'll go down and go to Etna and go.
Right. Yeah, Jamie spent most of the day in LA today skating with a bunch of his buddies.
Or I'll go over to
seriously hot out there today.
Go hit the block over at the Combi, over at Vans.
Oh yeah, or sneak into a schoolyard, which they're really good at.
Or a backyard pool.
Yeah.
Always great pool sessions.
Always. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Bobby, why don't you go ahead and roll with it so we give the fans the
last thing right here. I'm going to throw out a band that you were in, and you've done a bunch of things with the Renaissance Rock Opera. If you could touch a little bit on that before we close out.
Okay, so a Renaissance Rock Orchestra is manned, written, produced by Greg Fox. Greg is originally from Seattle. Greg invited me to take part in Renaissance all of about 3 years ago now. I recorded the first record. Okay. We did a live performance, and he's been trying extremely hard to push that to another level. It's kind of, I don't misconstrue this, it's kind of what he needs to do with it. What he needs to do with it is kind of a Trans-Siberian. And there's a lot of work to get there. I got really busy with Schenkerfest and Black Swan, so I pulled out of that, and I introduced Mark Bones to Greg, and Mark now more or less fronts it. Tony Harnell is in there also.
Yeah.
And it's Brian Tishy is actually playing drums with that.
Yeah, they're doing a Vegas residency a little bit.
They are looking at doing a Vegas residency, but I guess till the gate completely opens up and the shows are available and the bookings are available. But that's their goal. It's phenomenal. It's really, really good, and they have a quartet with string instruments, and it's killer.
Yeah, I know the albums are out, and you've done a few, so it's great. Anybody wants to check it out? Look, Robin's catalog, it goes deep. So if there's something for everybody on your catalog. You've touched almost every genre. Is there a genre that you'd love to do that you haven't done?
I'm actually working on it right now outside of Black Swan. I always, we went back to the Kashmir with the rock orchestra, and I always wanted to somehow convince somebody that I should do something like that. So I recently wrote a piece. It's kind of rock orchestra, and then he does a lot for HBO and Netflix and all of that sort of stuff. And his stuff is up there all the time. So he sent me out a bunch of really cool symphonic pieces that we'll work on. And I always wanted to do that sort of. I love the big heavy violin, heavy cello. That if you take all that sort of the Queen stuff and then you bring it in with a full orchestra and you just kick the ass out of it. That's like I get a blood rush. That's so that's on the bucket list. So I hope I can somehow get that done by the end of the year. Yeah.
Nice.
Always something, always something. I'm not supposed to be doing this at my age, just so you know. But I am. So
what age is that?
68.
Yeah, dude. Yes, you are, because you give us all hope to keep kicking ass.
Hey, what would I do, huh? I wouldn't know what else to do.
Peanut butter massages.
I told you I learned how to cook. I can boil 2 eggs instead of 1 now. So
2 eggs. 2 eggs.
Yeah. Angel, do you cook?
No.
No.
I guess that's why I'm single. That could be why I'm single, because I don't cook.
But you eat peanut butter.
Oh, yes, I will.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
That's too good for sure. Well,
listen,
Angel,
guys, I'm going to get out of here.
All right.
And you guys are incredible.
no problem. Absolutely.
thank you.
Here, I got one final question, and I'm really sorry, Metal Summoners. We will absolutely make it up to you. Here's a final question real quick for you, Robin, just because I think it was interesting with 2 guitar players that you brought up. Of course, we've talked about Michael Schenker, and you brought up Tracy Guns. What did you think about their band they had for the short time, Contraband?
Oh, excellent. Excellent. You know, most of the guys out of Shark Island, and that we're all involved with that.
Yeah, Richard Black and Bobby
Yeah,
Black.
Richard Black, excellent friends. And of course, the guitar player out of Shark Island, Spencer Sercom, was also the guitar player on the Unplugged tour for us.
Nice.
That was awesome. I mean, that was just great. That was something that the management at the time put Michael together with, and they sent me off doing movie soundtracks. And when Michael was doing Contraband, I worked with the great David Foster, and wrote had the end credits on a movie called Teach Me How to Dream. You remember Richard Grieco?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was kind of a James Bondy kind of a spy kind of a thing, and they had me out doing that. They had my Contraband was killer. It was awesome.
That's awesome.
Shame we didn't hear more from that. And
No.
Tracy is an awesome player, dude.
Absolutely. He's so good. Robin, for anybody who's trying to find you, where can they find you?
You can get me on Facebook on my official Robin McAuley site, and you'll get all the info on there about me, everything that's going on with me in Frontiers Records, and more. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
And you can see
Robin,
me on Twitter. You can see me on Instagram. You know, all the usual go-to places. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Robin, we can't thank you enough, man, for being
thank
involved
you.
with us and taking us
Really
some time out of
appreciate
your evening.
Yes.
So, Metal Summoners, make sure they
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
absolutely.
The pleasure's
Thank you, man.
ours.
Make sure you guys are supporting Robin on all of his previous ventures. His last album that he just put out with Black Swan last year, with the new album coming at you guys really hard and fast. Here at
Thank
the
you.
Metal Summit, follow us on all of our socials. Make sure that you're definitely following us on Facebook, since that's where we go live. But definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell on YouTube for when we go live there as well. Hit up all of our socials. You know how much we love you guys. We really appreciate you guys chiming in with us. We've got Rockin' Pod coming up in the beginning of August, so we really can't wait to spend some time with you guys at that. I want to send out a quick little thank you to Tony Fennel from Enough's Enough for inviting me out last night to catch him with Enough's Enough and Faster Pussycat. I had a great time, and some love and kisses to the Lee family, Brad Lee and his wife, Angie. Brad got in a car accident. It's not life-threatening, but he's definitely bashed up. Brad, we love you. Thank you so much, Metal Summoners. Guest announcement on Friday for next week's episode. We will see you next week. We will see you next Wednesday night. For Bobby Dreyer, for Angel Alamo, for Psycho Steve, Jamar, our producer. Thank you so much, brother. We really appreciate you. I'm Jay, and thank you to Robin McAuley for spending your evening with us. We will see you guys next week. We will absolutely, brother. We will see you guys next week. As always, you know where you've been and you know where you'll be. You have been watching the Metal Summit.
All right. Cool.